So today I want to talk about COVID-19, the coronavirus, and why certain underlying health conditions put you at risk. So if you look this up, if someone has a pre-existing cardiovascular condition, there's a 13.2% increase in death rate, or let's say mortality rate. If they have diabetes, they have a 9.2 increase in mortality rate. If there's a chronic respiratory underlying health problem, it's an 8% increase in death rate. If it's hypertension, it's an 8.4% spike in death rate from COVID-19. If they have cancer, it's a 7.6% increase. Now, what's interesting, if a person, it doesn't matter what age, has none of these underlying health conditions, their mortality rate is 0.9%. And this number right here is probably significantly lower because they don't have all the data in yet to actually do this calculation. In other words, there's probably a lot more people who have had COVID-19 and recovered that will show negative on the test unless they do an antibody test. And because of the lack of capacity of testing people, you're not going to be able to get the true numbers. So when you divide those numbers by the number of people tested positive versus the number of people die, this number is probably going to be way, way lower than this 0.9%. When you have underlying health conditions, the death rate does go up significantly. Now we're going to talk about why. Well, the way the virus penetrates the cells is through a receptor interaction, and it's called the ACE2 receptor. So these little spikes that come off the virus connect to this receptor, and then the door opens and they can go in and create their damage. People with cardiovascular problems, diabetes, chronic respiratory problems, hypertension, and cancer have a much higher concentration of these receptors in the cell. But not only that, there's another condition which has higher level of ACE2 receptors as well, and that is insulin resistance. And another connection that I found interesting is this: cardiovascular problems, diabetes, hypertension, and even sometimes in cancer, you have insulin resistance. And because cancer lives on sugar, and this usually comes from a high carbohydrate diet, and too much refined sugar could potentially damage the cells and lead to cancer, targeting this condition and improving this condition can reduce this, and potentially this one right here. And I'm going to put some links down below. So yes, it's very, very important to take measures to prevent the virus from entering your body. But what about doing something to decrease these underlying health conditions? So instead of targeting these and treating these separately, especially these three right here, it would be much wiser to do something to deal with this right here as a causative factor.